is Marie, and you're listening to the 8th episode of the PB&J podcast, where I document the life and times of an entry-level product designer in 20-minute episodes every Sunday. So, I've come up with a name for this segment that I want to include to the podcast. If you listen to my last episode, you know that I want to add a segment where I essentially define design terminologies or explain design phenomenons. I don't know. Yeah, but you get what I'm talking about. So the name of the segment is The More You Know. That's it. So today on The More You Know, I'm gonna give you guys a really dead design joke, but just hear me out, okay? Like, just trust me. It's dry, but, okay. So the joke goes, what did the designer say to his lover? I am very fond of you because you're just my type. Do you get it? You get the joke? So, when we look at typography or just like text, right? I think before I started product design school, I did not know that there was a term for these things. Let me explain further. So we typically just call it fonts. When you're writing a document or you're changing the text or whatever, we call it fonts, right? But it's actually wrong. That's actually incorrect. So fonts, right, is... So the term that we're looking for is actually typeface. So there's font and then there's typeface. So typeface is the name of the lettering, like the typography, like the design of the typography is the typeface. Like that's the overall design of the characters, like Helvetica, Times New Roman. Yeah, so that's what we call typeface. But then what font actually is the variation in the style, the weight, the size of the text. So every typeface has various fonts. So Times New Roman has various fonts, right? Because it comes in regular, there's bold, there's italic, there's thin. You get what I mean? So that's the difference between font and typeface. I hope that clarifies. So in the joke, they just use the two very popular terminologies in typography. I'm very fond of you because you're just my typeface. Yeah, so that's it. So yeah, the more you know. I bet you didn't know that. And if you did, clap for yourself. Yeah, so that's it. That's the difference between font and typeface. And now you can use very intelligent design terminologies when you're discussing with your colleagues. Yeah, so yeah, that's that. All right, cool. So what's up? What's been going on with me? Let's see. So my capstone project, I would say I'm pretty much done. On the designer side, we're pretty much done with, honestly, we're done. Oh, are we? Yeah, I think for the most part, we're like 95% done with everything. The developers have already started working and whatnot. So we had to work on the wireframes, the user flow, and then the screens, and then the prototype. Okay, we haven't gotten around to prototyping the screens just yet, but it's not complete. We've started, but it's not complete. But yeah, so that's essentially that's our responsibility on the project. And so in my last episode, I said that I was going to talk a little bit more about my capstone project and just like the process so far. So I know that, how what they teach you in school isn't always the case when you like face real world problems. In school it's very structured. There's a process, it's like this this is what you do, this is what you do. Yeah, there's just like a process, and you don't really factor in the different like circumstances you find yourself in. It's always, oh, ideally this is how it should be done, ideally it should be this way. That's what you learn in school, right? But then you come and you work, and you have the opportunity to practicalize your skills, or put it to test in real life or real world projects, and it's just like chaos. Just chaos. So I love my team members on my capstone project. I'm even really glad that I have the team members that I do, because we're all very proactive. Everybody, especially the product managers, like they're very they're lovely women. I love them all. They're all great, honestly. It's just, it's our first time working on a project. I mean, I would assume it's our first time working on a real world project. And it's just a lot of processes, a lot of, I think, key things were skipped and not factored into the, when we were, building the product, basically. And it irks me so much. It's not our fault also because of time constraints, but it's just so annoying because I would have loved to document this and use it as a case study on my portfolio, because it's my first time working on an actual cross-functional team. But then there were so many processes that we skipped that are important. Do you get what I mean? For instance, usability testing. We did not test. We didn't do that. Like the designers, we didn't get to do that because we had to hand off to the devs like ASAP. And I'm like, bro, how do we not like do that? And I imagine that like, in actual like proper, working for proper like companies and whatnot, I imagine that, you can sometimes have like rifts with stakeholders and skip like important processes, especially stakeholders that don't really prioritize the UX, the design thinking process, so, but it's just like, bruh, like, I mean, yeah, so it's frustrating for me, and not really frustrating, like, it's not super dramatic, but it just irks me so much because I put a lot of work into it, and like, I think I'm really proud of my screens. And it's just a bummer that I can't really document it because I don't even have even our user research was a bit iffy, to be honest. Like, it was kind of iffy. Like, we didn't. I don't think we had up to 100 participants. Do you get what I mean? So it's like the data we had was, I don't think it was sufficient to, build a whole ass project. Do you get what I mean? So just a lot of things were very, I hate to say this, but like anyhow, especially because of the time constraints. I think because, in addition to the time constraints, the fact that like this is our first time and we're kind of just, winging it. Yeah, I think that's like another factor. And it irks me, but at the same time, I'm like, I totally get it. And, I'm not faulting anybody on my team. I mean, I'm on the team as well, so I would be faulting myself. So, like, I get it, but then it just irks me because I would have loved if, I don't know how. There's just a lot of things that I would do differently. Do you get what I mean? So like it got to a point where at the beginning I was super like pumped. I was very invested. I was like creating like tables for like tasks for the designers on the team. Like I was super, organizing the Figma and everything, very like into it, and like first to join the meetings, that kind of thing. But then after a while, when it felt like, what am I even like doing? Like it just felt like anyhow work, and I just did not feel very motivated to put in a lot of effort, even though by that time we had already pretty much finished. But yeah, so yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but I mean, it's still a learning experience, and I'm really grateful for it. And I love my team. I would love for us to work on another project with the knowledge that we now have, from the project that we're currently working on. I would love to work with these women again, because I know that we would so slay. So that's just kind of like what's bumming me out, because it's like a lot of time and effort and then like nothing to show for it, kind of. I mean, I have my screens that I am going to document in the UI gallery, but documenting it as an actual case study, I don't know if I can do that. Yeah, so it's just kind of a bummer. But yeah, so that's that about my capstone project. So we're done. I'm really glad that we're done. I think we did a good job with the screens. They look pretty good. Oh yeah, another thing that I have an issue with is just it's really tough, especially for, I guess, smaller projects. It's really tough to have a cohesive design, if that makes sense, because it's like we're three different designers and we all have different ideas in our head. The only thing I think we're aligned on is the colors. Like, we have the color palette down, we have the color styles, we have the typography down, but in the actual like feel and aesthetic of the product, we the three of us just have like completely different ideas in our heads. So you can, when you go through the product, you can see that the screens are different. I mean, they're the same colors, same typography, whatnot, but just the feel of the screens are different. Like, it's so obvious. And that's another thing that's just like, bro, like, how do you even tackle that? Like, how do you solve that problem? Before we started, we already, created the design system. And even with the design system, it was so iffy because there were a lot of components that we didn't end up using, but we just created anyways. But we did end up using, like, as we created and built, designed the screens. And then we had to create components along the way. And there were just so many iterations, and it was just, I don't know, it just felt like it was all over the place. Looking at the designs now, I feel like it's not super consistent. Like, I feel like we still have to go back and like kind of go through everything and make sure that everything's actually consistent, like the buttons, the nav bar, everything, bruh. It's really, and it's not like we weren't aligned, like, as like the designers. We had an idea, we got the vibe, we had a mood board and everything. It's just hard to, I don't know, it's hard for it to be very, I don't know how to, but it's not like there wasn't any conflict. Do you get what I mean? Like, we're very much on the same page, we're super aligned, but it's just what we have in our heads is different. I mean, we're three different human beings, so I mean, whatever we put out will probably obviously be different. We're not telepathic, but then it's just hard to have the designs be like consistent. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, that's like another challenge that I'm really struggling with. But yeah, I wonder how people tackle that, cause bruh. But yeah, so like that's that, and yeah, so a lot of things that I would do differently if I could do this over, but it's a lot of work, honestly. It was really draining, but I mean, it's all good. I learned a lot, and I'm really grateful for the experience, and I love my team members. They're so amazing and awesome and proactive, and yeah, doing the damn thing. So yeah, I think I don't want to be too harsh, but I think, I think we did a good job, to be honest. I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's a good product. But yeah, it could be better. But yeah. So yeah, so that's that about my capstone project. I'm so glad that like I'm actually done with my screens. Like, I'm done. I'm not designing anything again, so I can actually focus on my personal project, which I've started. I started the user research already. Yeah, I started user research yesterday. My user research is not super conventional, I don't think. I'm literally reaching out to like my friends just to identify opportunity and see if this is actually something that people would appreciate. Yeah, but don't worry, you guys will see it when I drop my case study. When I drop my portfolio, have access to the case study and whatnot. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. But I want to map out like a timeline so that I can actually stick to a time frame, because if I just wing it, this project will go on for months. So I'm going to map out a timeline, and by God's grace, stick to the timeline and hopefully get it done in due time. Yeah, so I'm glad I can finally find time to work on my personal project. So yeah, what else been going on? Honestly, nothing much. I would say that's about it. Excited to work on my personal project. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I guess I will end it here. Thank you guys so much for listening. Stay tuned for many more amazing things ahead. And yeah, thanks for listening. Bye bye.